What is up, guys? This is the Yeet Fishing Podcast. I'm your host, Tyson Belknap. This is your co-host, Taylor Hadlock and Shannon Bradford. The topic today is going to be how to use your time wisely on the ice. But first things first, we should go over our recent trips, guys.
Recent trip.
Absolutely. Shannon, you start.
Me first. So I don't remember how long ago it was, but the most recent trip, I hiked up a freaking fat mountain, super steep, in the snow. I'm not gonna name the lake, but yeah, it had good ice, 4 to 8 inches, just depending where it was, and I went and caught some lake trout.
Nice.
So, nothing big, just pups. It was a lot of fun. Took about 2 hours to hike up this mountain.
Jeez.
So it was a little brutal. I packed pretty light, as light as I could, but I don't think it was light enough. I was pretty sore the next morning, but I just I filled a backpack up with my fish finder, jerky for lunch. I didn't want to take water, so I just took a filter straw. And
Did that work?
Yeah, it worked good.
Good.
Just drink out of the lake and the creeks up there.
Yeah.
So that worked good. What else did I bring? Oh yeah, spud bar. So my spud bar breaks up into 3 sections, so
That's nice.
yeah, it fits really nice in a backpack, which is a bonus. It's worked out good. But yeah, and the parts where it was like 8 inches of ice, that was awful. Yeah, it's like
Pounding.
yeah,
No auger. Didn't take an auger then.
Didn't take an auger. Yeah, you definitely have to now. It's definitely it's gonna be really thick now, but.
Yeah.
'Cause it's cold up in those mountain lakes.
It's going to be almost impossible to get up there in a couple days.
Yeah, I know. It's about the snow and it's going to be hard to get up. So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if I go again or if anybody else, if you two go again.
Yeah, I'm debating it. I want to go, but I
Yeah.
don't know if I want to do the hike. So.
Yeah, the hike's pretty bad. Well, you have to have like a fish finder for Lakers. I feel like you have to. I don't know. It's hard fishing blind, so that's just a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Were you sinking in the snow at all, or was it pretty staying on top?
Yeah, staying on top. It's pretty packed down because you have all the winter hikers out there and packing the whole trail down. So yeah, that was fine. It was just straight up. Coming down it took me a few minutes. Just
It's a breeze.
running down the whole time. Yeah, it was fast, but going up was awful. But yeah, that was my trip. 2 Lakers and a brook trout, so it was good.
Nice.
There you go. Sweet. Yeah, I went out to Mirror Lake again. Well, before then, I guess I should kind of start with my weekend, how that went. So Saturday, woke up around 4:30, drove out to Huntington / Mammoth, and unfortunately that was open water. Luckily, Shandon was up and able to kind of text me, say, hey, go check out this other lake real quick, and I was able to get service at the top of the mountain there. So I went and checked that out. Got really stoked. I'm like, sweet, wasn't a waste. Get out there with my spud bar. Right through. So I kind of did a little bit lighter hit, and I'm like, no, that's not how this is supposed to work.
Just hit it lighter.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, this isn't how this works. So ended up just leaving. Luckily, it's a pretty drive. It's not a boring drive, so I was able to kind of enjoy that, and it wasn't a complete waste of the day. Was able to kind of give other people information without having them waste their time. I saved 2 or 3 people some time from the Facebook page because they just commented that they were kind of planning on going out there, so that was nice, just being able to
Thank
do
you
that.
for spending your money so others could save it.
Yeah.
I feel like it'll pay back in the long run of fishing. The fishing gods will pay me back greatly for
better.
doing
You
that
deserve
service. So that was Saturday. Obviously had the itch to go ice fishing, was determined. Luckily, I had a buddy who has a 4Runner, so I didn't have to drive out to Mirror Lake. He was willing to go out there and didn't have to hike up the road because that's what I did last time because I just drive a all-wheel drive Subaru Legacy, and I've learned my lesson. Don't push its limits. I'd rather hike in and hike out than spend
stuck.
because you spend more time digging out than you do just walking your butt down there. So anyways, went out there. It slowed down a lot since last week, since we were out there, Taylor. I mean, last week we could drive down anything and they'd come in and hit it, and this past week it was definitely moving around a lot. Was able to use my mapping to our benefit there and ended up having a killer day. It was more on fire to the location we moved to. But they are closing that road this week, kind of what we were thinking they would. And I believe it's closing Thursday. By the time this episode comes out, it'll be closed for about 3 days. So got out there while we could and fingers crossed we're getting some more lakes to get some more trips out there. But that was kind of my weekend.
Nice,
Nothing
that's
too
good
exciting.
stuff.
Best catch I do have to brag was a picture I took out there. We'll pop that up here. I got to show
was
that
pretty.
off. It needs to be on an ice fishing magazine, honestly.
Good looking picture.
He did good. He did good. I didn't go out fishing. It was Thanksgiving week, so I had family in town. I was trying to sneak away and stuff, but ended up snowing a ton too. So I was just like, yeah, I'll spend time with family. So did that. But then after all the family left, I actually finally got hunkered down and was like, I gotta get rid of summer stuff and pull out all the winter stuff. And so I did some organizing, got all the winter stuff ready, and then I kept all my tackle in one of those black and yellow Costco totes.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm sick of just like digging through all of it. So what I did is I got one of those peg boards, and I got like those hooks and everything, hung it up on the wall, and just went through and organized everything. So that was super nice, super helpful now, just so I can actually see what I have rather than going to the store and buying like 2 more of it, even though I already have 3 of it.
There you go. Yeah.
I mean, it never hurts having too much, but just
That's good.
adding to the fishing collection. So that picture's here. So YouTube, go check it out. I definitely recommend if you have a bunch of ice fishing stuff or just fishing stuff in general, go do it. So I like it.
How much does that all cost you?
Cost me about $50, I'd say. So I probably could have done it a little cheaper, but I wanted it all done that day, so I just bought what they had at Home Depot. But I probably could have done it cheaper off of Amazon for like $30. So
Okay, there you go.
yeah, it's well worth it to organize the stuff. It's all right there in my garage and just nice. So I'm ready to go for whatever trip.
Sweet. Yeah. No, it looks awesome. It looks like a little store display. It's pretty sweet looking
Thanks.
there. Did you guys do any Black Friday shopping for any ice fishing deals? Find any deals or anything like that?
I didn't get any ice fishing stuff. I was
Okay.
tempted. Shields had the Live Scope LV32, and I was tempted to buy it because it was marked down to $1,900.
Okay.
But I didn't.
Price?
Yeah, because it's $28, so $900 off.
Yeah, that's
So,
sweet. I know.
It's just the ice bundle there, but I didn't pull the trigger.
I can't yet. Yep, that's where I'm at. It's a little more time. I did play with one this weekend. My buddy that we went out with has a live scope, and it's pretty sweet. He was able to get some footage there of me like messing with the fish and then me setting that hook. He's like, dude, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen in my live scope because you literally saw the fish flailing, getting up there.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
that's awesome.
It was just sweet footage there. But
Which live scopes you got?
I think he has the 93.
Okay.
Yeah.
The 93-inch screen, and then do you know if it's 32 or 34?
I think it's a 32 on
Nice.
there. Yep, yeah, 32. He's willing to get rid of the transducer this next season.
Oh.
He's got a really good connection for discounted things, so he's
Heck
always
yeah.
upgrading. So, if you guys are on the lookout for one, I'll let you know.
Heck yeah. That's good to know. Do you get anything for Black Friday?
Just some Christmas shopping stuff. We went and got off topics, not fishing, but we got a sectional couch for a living room.
Nice.
And then our TV was too small, so like, well, crap, now we need a bigger TV.
There you
So
go.
went and got a 65-inch Black Friday morning, 6 a.m. at Walmart.
There you go.
Fought the crowds, but it was worth it.
Good get.
So, and then something that is more related. See these mics that we're holding here? If you're watching on video, we got tired of passing it back and forth, so I went and bought some. It wasn't on sale, but it'll be nice for my YouTube videos and then for this podcast. It'll be awesome. So,
Sweet, man. It's
yeah,
exciting.
some good purchases lately. Yeah.
Yeah, I went crazy. I told myself I wasn't gonna go. I don't need that much gear, and then I see a Dakota and lithium battery for $60. That's normally $99.
Yeah, it's a steal.
That's pretty good.
So I had to pull that. Honestly, it worked phenomenal. I was out there with my, I have I'm drawing a blank. The Echo Maps 64. So I don't know exactly what the measurements are on it. It's a pretty big screen. I want to say it's like 6x9.
Sweet.
Ran out there and had 75% left after it's about 6 hours on the ice with that big of a screen. So pretty impressed with that.
That's pretty good.
Found a little, you don't have your little Eskimo 3-stool chair, but found that off Amazon for $15.
Nice.
And then found an Eskimo pullover bib jacket that was
Bib jacket.
the bib jacket. Yep.
Ooh.
$70 on that, and I think Eskimo still has it for $99 on their website. But I found that on Amazon with a 30% as well.
Nice.
So that one I don't think is a Black Friday because I just bought that today and it's Tuesday. So I don't think that was Cyber Monday or anything. You guys might be able to find that deal if you go to Amazon there. So Bib Jack, 30% off, came out at about $70.
Not bad at all.
But yeah,
Nice looking jacket. Yeah.
so I had one last year. That's the one that a couple podcasts ago we talked about losing on the ice and at Strawberry, and it's a really nice jacket. It's got your windproof there, and then fleece lining on the inside. And so when you don't want to be having your big pullover jacket on there, but want to be warm, it's perfect for that.
Nice.
So.
There you go.
So I'm talking about, what did you guys buy for Black Friday? What's going to help you out on the ice?
Leave a comment below. And speaking of comments, just because it's on my mind right now, we did reach our 15 subscribers.
Woo!
So we
Wait. Did we stay at 15?
Yes, let's see that.
We confirmed that last week and we dropped.
When we checked yesterday, I believe we had 15 subscribers.
We did. We stayed. 15 subscribers.
What we need is only 5 of you guys have your profiles public. So when we went to go choose a winner for the rod, I could only pick out of 5 people. So the 10 of you, if you don't want to make your profile public, leave a comment below. Although, how will we verify that?
Tell them how to do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is our first giveaway, so we're kind of working through it. But comment on this video or any other comments in the past we'll look at as well, and that'll kind of enter you in. But we'll also look. When you comment, we can look and see if you're subscribed to us. Only if it's public, though. So if your account's not public, go to your settings and make that public so that we can see that you are subscribed to us. We'll have steps and stuff on the screen of how to do it. But yeah, make sure you do that. That way we can make sure we got all 15 of you in this drawing and then go from there.
Yep.
But
Got a nice rod and reel for you guys. We'll pick our winner next week once that's done. But yeah, thanks for subscribing, guys. We really appreciate it.
what's the next goal?
Next goal, 20. Gotta get 5 more.
we gotta do like 50
No, we got
50. 50 's a
Let's
good
shoot
one.
for 50, and
subscribers.
we'll
50. Before the end of the year. If we can do it before that's plenty of time. We get 50.
Yeah.
We could do 50.
Yeah, definitely share this podcast with all your friends and family. We post a new episode every Monday, just so you're aware of our schedule. But yeah, every Monday, tell your friends,
Yep.
your buddies. So
we appreciate it, guys. We appreciate the feedback and everyone that's sharing it and everything. It's making it round. I have friends and stuff telling me, "Oh, I didn't know you did a podcast." So
yeah,
it's getting out there. But
So we also want to do something each week. Is we want to do a snapshot of the week, kind of like KSL Outdoors. But we want to hear and tell about what everybody else is doing. So if you've gone on a recent ice trip and you had a great time, you got a picture of it, send that to us. So you can send it to an email, Frozen Frenzy Ice Fishing, that's what it is, right?
Yep.
At gmail.com. So that'll be in the YouTube link there. Can we, in Spotify, can we add descriptions?
yeah.
It'll be in the description as well. So go check that out. You can email that. Tell us about your story. Send us pictures, and we will add that in to our next week of our podcast. So that way you guys don't always have to hear about our recent trips. You can just hear about what everybody else is doing. So if you don't want something in there, you don't want us to tell everybody something, don't tell us then, because we'll tell everybody what you tell us. So if you have a secret, keep that to yourself. So, or you can put it in parentheses and say, this is a secret, and you can tell us your secret.
and
Or
we'll
else we'll tell.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
We'll share secrets too. We've got a couple up our sleeves.
Yeah. So, Frozen Frenzy Ice Fishing at gmail.com.
Sweet. Well, I think now that we have addressed our promoting, we can get into just how to be more time-wise with yourself on the ice, because I don't know about you guys, but getting up that early and, I mean, with especially these last couple trips, you're driving almost 2 hours just to get up there. You want to have that success, and just kind of wondering what your guys is, if you guys are doing any preparation, what your guys' preparation is for that, and what you guys are doing out there. If you're not necessarily having the success to catch fish, what you guys are doing to catch those fish. Taylor, yeah, we can start with you, man.
Okay. So I feel like for me, whenever I have like a big trip, so when I'm going somewhere new, it always starts the week before, but I'll start the night before. Night before, I always get my stuff ready. Like I make sure it's in my truck, it's all ready to go. I have what I need. I have the lures that are specific to that fish.
Already tied on, probably too. Right?
Yeah, already tied on. What rods I'm taking, and all those little things. So I have like my auger battery's charged. I might take my transducer and my underwater camera. Make sure those are charged. All those little things.
Yeah.
And then how I'm gonna store them in my sled. So depending what tent I'm gonna take, depends on what sled I take. If I'm taking a tent, also depends on what sled I'm taking, because sometimes I'll just fish outside. And so I just make sure I have all of that little bit of gear. It's the first thing that I do. So do you do anything different the night before?
No, same setup. All the camera gear and batteries. That's freaking awful.
Yeah.
You got fish finder, underwater camera.
So glad I don't have that problem.
Yeah, our YouTube channels. We got tons of batteries and cameras and all that, stands and stuff. But yeah, no, same thing. Night before for sure. You're just getting everything ready, tied on. Everything's pre-tied. Probably few days earlier, probably already planning.
Yeah. Well, and I think the longer you've been ice fishing, I know when I first started, I was taking everything out. It didn't matter what it was. If it wasn't using it, it was going out with me. And slowly, as you start going out there, you just realize that you have too much crap and you don't need it all. So kind of getting that pinpoint of what you need and what you're getting organized for is kind of important. Especially like this past weekend, since I failed at Huntington, where I was like, oh, well, let's go camping. Well, starting getting ready for camping and everything, I was like, all right, this is too last minute to get prepared for that trip like that. So it also depends on exactly what you're doing. If you're camping, that takes a lot more preparation than if you're just going out for the day.
A lot more gear.
Exactly. A lot more gear and a lot more time that's going to go into getting out there. That's going to also reflect on your success. What are you guys doing differently with camping versus, like you're saying, the day trip, going out there, getting everything ready the night before?
I think it's similar in a way. I mean, you just want to make sure you have everything. But when you're ice fishing, typically you can keep your things all together. So, like I have my rod case that keeps all my tackle and my rods, so I can keep that all together. The only difference I'm doing is if I'm going for trout one day, then the next week I'm going for walleye, I'm just changing out that tackle, maybe changing out a rod or two because I'll have to use different rods for that. So just making sure I have those little things. I mean, you have your thing to take out always. You got your sled. Your sled's always going to go with you 99% of the time, unless you decide to hike it. Yeah. You got your auger. That's always going to go with you. Most likely you'll have a chair. Sometimes you won't. So I always keep my auger, my chair, and my bump board always in my sled. So I have two different sizes of sled. Beginning of the season, I always take my smaller one because I typically don't take a tent. And then I'll take my bigger one as it goes on because then I can keep my tent in there, keep my auger case in there, and all that. So it's just making sure you got those little things, I'd say, is because like I used to take a table out. I used to this comfy chair I'm sitting on. I had this, and it's just so much space it takes up. I would take all sorts of things, and it was just like, do I really need all this? Like, in order to catch 5 fish, like, do I really need all this gear?
Well, and that also changes as well with kind of what you're equipped to go out with. Like, generally, up until this year, and I still haven't used it yet, I've been walking out. Whereas this year I'll have a snowmobile, and I'll be able to kind of take those, not necessarily necessities, but those luxuries, and not really feel any difference. Those 5 or 6, 20 pounds isn't going to make a difference. Yeah. Whereas you're walking out, those even 10 pounds makes a difference, and you notice the difference there. I even stopped using a chair that I bought because it was a 10-pound chair, and it's just so heavy and takes up so much space that now I see why you have your little tripod chairs that don't take up as much room.
Yeah. I mean, this bad boy, I love it. It folds down nice, but it's still like this wide, long, heavy. So it was nice. I mean, especially because it swivels. I got my bucket on the side here. It's luxury, but got to a point that I was like, is it worth really walking this out there in my sleds?
Yep.
There's a guy named Tom. What's his name?
Bowling.
Tom Boley.
Yep.
Tom Boley. He fishes walleye a ton, but he just did a recent video talking about how he stores all of his stuff. And it's just basically he has his snowmobile, doesn't even have a sled that he pulls, and he just stations it all on his snowmobile.
Wow.
And it's crazy. And he makes it work. He's like, I want to be as efficient as possible, but have everything that I need. And so he's like, I want to be able to like go to a spot, pull a rod out, drill a hole, and fish within like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't want to have to pull it up and do all these things and open the case. He's like, I just want to have it there. And so
Definitely.
he rigged it up so he's just as efficient as possible, but has everything he needs to make it as just awesome as possible.
I'll have to watch that. That sounds
Yeah,
sick.
that sounds pretty
It
cool.
just pulls it right up.
And I'm sure you guys kind of do something similar with just your jet sleds. I mean, I know when I'm going out, okay, I'm like, what order am I doing things? I know first starting out, you just, throw your auger in, blah, blah, blah. Well, next thing you know, you get out there. Now your tent is on your auger, which is under your tent, which is on your tent poles or your fishing poles. And you're sitting there digging out before you can even drill a hole. So generally, I've got my tent as my base. I've got 2 tackle bags. I've got my tackle bag, my fish finder, and then my bucket. And that way, drill a hole, put the auger back, flip the fish finder over, and then you just start fishing. And so I've definitely kind of figured out different ways, and there are pages you can follow just to make your jet sled more organized and efficient. I think it's like Trick Your Sled or something like that. Trick or Trap, yep. Trick or Trap. And they have a bunch of great ideas of how you can make yourself more organized and more efficient out there on the ice, because looking around for stuff does waste time.
Yeah. And it's easy to just get dirty. I mean, I just posted a video out at Deer Creek, and my goal was to hole hop. It was like I didn't take a sled. My goal was to move around. And so I wanted to stay as efficient as possible, and I still took too much gear. Like, my sled still got dirty, but I had it in a good enough way that it was like if I wanted to move to a new spot, I could start moving to a new spot in 15 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like I basically just had to reel up my rod, pull up my chair, and grab my tripod with the camera on it, put them in my sled, and I was good to go.
So I think what a lot of people that first start ice fishing, their biggest mistake is they get set up too quick. They aren't necessarily catching fish before they get set up. And at that point, you're just going out there and pretty much suntanning on a beach with
Yeah.
that's really, really cold, because you're not going to be efficient that way. For you guys, when you guys aren't catching fish, what is it you guys are doing? Like, Shannon, are you generally looking for different places on the map? What is it you're looking at?
Looking at contour maps for sure. Once I get to a lake, it's like Taylor and Tyson are saying, have everything organized and set up on your sled. But once I actually get there, I'm drilling a hole, making sure there's actually fish in the area. So I'll try and catch 1 or 2 before I even set anything up. Once I do that, I set up the jaw jacker or set up tip ups for pike or whatever species I'm targeting. That way I always have lines in the water, and then I'll go and set up tents or whatever else I need to do. And it's really just the best way to maximize your time, maximize the fish you catch, is just always have lines in the water. So.
Definitely. Yeah, when I'm looking, I'll generally fish a spot even if I don't see fish. Let's say I drill a hole and I see 10, 15 feet of water. I'm going to fish there for about 10, 15 minutes, see if I can drag anything in. At that point, if I don't get anything, we're moving on to the next spot. That's not even always looking at mapping. Sometimes I'll just, we'll walk another 15 yards over this way and drill another hole. Then, after I've drilled a couple holes and still haven't marked anything, that's when I'll go to mapping. I almost feel like it's more of an accomplishment finding them without mapping. I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of just a weird thing that I do, but
It works, I guess. If you find fish, great.
yeah, exactly. But no, it's a good time. Like I mentioned earlier this episode, that's what I did to get more success. It was kind of slow. I know that you can have action on this lake. We just had to move and find it, and it was a good half-mile walk we ended up making just to go find this little hump, but it paid off. It wasn't a waste at that point.
Yeah. For me, like Shannon was saying earlier, kind of starts like the week before of preparing. It's like I'm kind of deciding what lakes I want to go to, what fish I'm wanting to target, and then I always have at least like 3 different locations planned out. So, like, for instance, Strawberry, you got like Mud Creek, Chicken Creek, the Ladders. You can go to the Soldier Creek side. You can go to the marina. There's all these different spots, and it's kind of based off of where I've had luck in the past, I guess. So if I've been like, oh yeah, I caught a lot of numbers and I want to go, and I'm taking a group of people out that haven't really caught fish before, it's like I want to go for numbers. I don't care for size. Whereas if I know like, oh, I want to go for size today, I don't really care for numbers, I'm gonna go for that. And so I kind of look for places that are pretty steep, but then it's like a drop off, but find like that flat.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'll typically look for that. We in past podcast we talked kind of about that, so you can go check that out. And so kind of the week before, I just pick out a place, and then like the night before, I'm like, we kind of narrow it in. We're like, you know what, this is the lake we're going to go to. These are the 3 different locations. If there's a lot of people in one, we can go to the next and things like that. So just kind of depends on the time. But like you guys were saying, that morning of when you go and you're on the ice, it's like, go to that one spot. I'm opposite of Tyson. I like to pull my maps up while I'm walking, and I'm like, this is the point I want to go to. So I'll always put a pin in on my phone because I'm using Navionics. But I'll pin it out the night before, and then I'll just walk. So then that way I know I'm like, oh, I'm in the right spot. Like you said, we'll drill a hole. The drilling hole difference that I do, though, is I'll typically go to shore, and I'll drill one, and then I'll drill just like 5-10 feet apart, just go out deeper so I can kind of find that drop.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's like a foot difference between each hole, and then maybe that last hole will be like 4 feet difference, and you're like, oh, the drop's right here.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll be right at the edge of it. And then I kind of like to be like the guide when I'm out. I always like, if I'm with someone that's new, or if I'm with Shandon, I'm like, drop down a pole. And so have them start fishing, and then I'll keep drilling holes, and by the time I'm like done drilling holes and stuff, if they're marking fish, kind of put someone in a different hole. Just see if someone in the shallow hole is marking more fish than the person in the deeper hole. That means they're still there from the nighttime. And so just kind of figuring out where the fish are at, and if they're not, like you said, move 15 yards, go to that next point, just keep on moving. So
Yeah, I mean, it's all about the success. I mean, either way, you're going to be cold. You might as well be cold catching fish.
Yeah.
So make it worth it while
When
you're
you're
out there.
dragging all that gear, though, sometimes you're sweating.
It gets
So.
hot.
Well, yeah, by the time on Sunday, I was dying. That 10,000 elevation and being out of shape, I was
Yeah.
like, whoo, yeah.
Feeling it.
It'll get you.
Yeah. So sometimes it's nice to get out and walk around,
Mm-hmm.
warm up, and so I don't know.
First ice is nice because you got
Yeah.
sometimes you'll have no snow, and it's just you're just walking and your sled's like behind you
It's so
drifting.
easy to pull on
Yeah.
first ice. Yeah.
It's great, and then you get later in the season and you got a foot of slush and a foot of snow and just terrible.
And not even a snowmobile will help you with that.
Yeah. It just makes it hard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, any other tips you guys have for kind of being more successful? I know research. Well, one thing that I can kind of chime in there is what is hot for where you're at. Kind of an example I'll use is strawberry. Okay. What's the number one thing that everybody knows to use there?
White tube jig.
White tube jig. So it's kind of just knowing your area. Talk to your local bait shop. Look at Sportsman's. They usually do a report once a week out there. They'll tell you what they're using, what they're catching them on, and I mean that's good information to have because there are some places that white tube jigs aren't going to work. Mm-hmm. Whereas strawberry, it is the number one staple. It'll be hand over fist fishing there. But
Yeah, I like Tyson said, bait is huge. I mean, even live bait. I mean, you got your worms, your mealworms. You got chub. You can use dead chub. Can't use live bait in Utah. Spikes, shrimp works good. Kind of just have a little bit of all, and some days they just pound it, and other days they just want like shiny stuff. So I like to always set up like a tip up or jaw jacker specifically, depending how many people are like with me. If there's 2 of us, I'll set up 2 jaw jackers, and then we'll just each have a rod in the tent, and it's just typically I'll just do a little tungsten jig with a mealworm or shrimp or something on it, and it'll sit, and sometimes that'll outfish the jigs. So just having those, it's always good. I mean, you can have 2 rods in Utah, so take advantage of it. Don't try to jig it. You're just gonna get tangled, and it's hard. But I always set up one.
yeah, that's a great point. I mean, and even if you don't have a jaw jacker, when I was first starting out, you'd have your one dead stick in a bucket, and you'd be jigging with your other pole, and at that point, you can kind of determine what you like. There have been times I've gone out there, they don't like the jigging. I have 2 dead sticks. I mean, it just kind of helps you pin out what exactly they're going after. And also what you're targeting. I mean, you can go out there and be catching hand over fish, hand over fish.
Yeah. Hand over the fish.
But it's not exactly what you are wanting to catch. Now that I've been doing it forever, not forever, now that I've been doing it for 4 years, I'm not going to put myself in that category. I'm still learning a lot. But since
Always
I've been doing
learning.
it for 4 years, I'm kind of done catching fish every time. Like, that's the same size. You want to kind of switch things up a little bit. So,
Trophy hunter.
exactly. You're turning into a trophy hunter, and that's going to bring down your success rates of numbers. But that's also going to bring up your success rate of the reward that you're getting. So, when you're first starting out, catching fish is a reward in itself. But the more you go out, it's kind of, you get stingy, I guess is the word to say.
It's a tricky. I mean, if you're not hunting for fish, you're just out there because like your brother-in-law invited you for a weekend. Like if you're a true fisherman, you're out there. You're like, I want to catch this PB fish. It's like you're putting in the work, and so that's how I became last year. Like the year before, I've just been like, oh, I want to go to Schofield. I want to go to Strawberry. I want to catch a nice cutthroat. Like I don't care what the fish is. Last year turned into like, I want to catch walleye. I want to catch a lake trout. I want to catch good burbot. Like, and it was like, what do we have to do it? And it's like, you got to put in the time. You got to go out. You got to scope areas. You got to be willing to have a no fish day. Like, try different structures. And it's like, it's not just going to be given to you unless you're paying a guide. Like, unless you're going with someone.
And that's not given. You paid for it.
All right. Sorry about that. We had some camera issues. Should be good now. But back to, we can't remember what we were talking about, but we're just going to hop in. So, when you're going out, it's just, the biggest thing is, I mean, if you're wanting to get numbers, figure that out. If you're wanting to catch a big one, go for that. So, it comes through time. It's not going to come easily. I mean, you're going to have to put the hours in. You're going to have to get on the ice frequently. You're going to have to fish the same lake multiple times. Different spots, just test it. So
Find in different areas.
yeah, fishing isn't given to you unless you have money and you can pay for guides to get out there. Then you can, or you can kind of people with us where we put in the time, become our good friend, and maybe we'll share those spots and places with you and take you out. So we do. That's one thing I love is I love seeing someone that hasn't had much experience go out, catch a species for the first time, catch a big fish for the first time. Like, it's a good time.
If it's a lake that hasn't frozen yet, if it's a lake that people aren't waiting to freeze, these guys will know about a week before because we'll go scout it out before everyone else does.
Yeah,
If it's like Schofield or whatever that everyone's just waiting to freeze and asking about, we'll tell you about those. But there are those other lakes that we're not gonna.
Gotta keep on a down low a little bit. Yeah. Last year we took a group of young men, bunch of youth. Took a bunch of youth out on the ice at Strawberry. We're gonna do that again.
We got a group of youth. I mean, if any of you out there got, a youth group that's wanting to do an overnighter, like, we'll take them.
I think we should rephrase that.
How would you rephrase that?
If there are any young men youth groups that would like to participate in ice fishing,
If there's any youth out there
that want to do it overnight with me.
Silly Tyson, we're in Utah. People know what we meant.
I know. Sorry, guys. Just got to bring
Nights on the ice.
Yeah, overnight on the ice. Shannon, tell us a little about that story.
I was a youth leader last year, and there was a group of, I think total, I don't know, like around 20 kids, but not all of them came.
It's like Boy Scouts, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of like Boy Scouts. It's just a youth group in the church, but
Like what, 8? 9 came?
yeah, 8 or 9 came, and we had 4 tents that set up, all the mats and heaters, and caught fish throughout the night and through the evening. Woke up to some breakfast, and yeah, it was great time. So it'd be fun to do again with the youth.
No, definitely.
Our biggest goal was every youth catch a fish, and I think we hit it. Like,
I think so.
there was a couple towards the end of the day that were sledding more than they were fishing, And they came back over and they're like, oh, I haven't caught a fish yet. And we were like, come here, you,
Yeah.
we'll do this. And they caught a fish. So it was fun to see it.
We're sledding down massive hills. They took our ice fishing sleds up these huge hills at Strawberry, and they just rocketed down. It was wild.
It was like a little hill, and then it kind of like this again, and then down again. And off of that little thing, they just they flew.
I'll see if I can get a video and put it on the Spotify video or YouTube.
Where were you guys at? Was it the?
We were at Chicken Creek.
Okay.
So right as you come down that new boat ramp, this is no secret because everybody in Utah County fishes it. You come down that boat ramp, you just follow the shoreline, and it's that hill to your left as you're walking across.
You guys know that hill just past Chicken Creek? It's like that turn off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That hill was the one I thought they were sledding
that
down. I'm
one's pretty
like,
steep.
holy cow.
That's a steep one.
Yeah, I've hiked up that one a couple times just getting back to the car. I think last year it was inaccessible to get there.
Oof.
Yeah, but yeah, no, that's actually something very, very important. If you guys want success, weather. I can't believe we almost spaced that,
Yeah,
but
that's very true.
weather conditions. First example of worst ice fishing experience you can ever give somebody on their first time is taking them out in slush.
Yeah, slush is bad.
They will hate ice fishing for the rest of their life. You'll never get them out there again.
Actually, this is false. I took one guy out there last year. Took him to Pineview. Pineview was terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible
slush.
You didn't come visit, but it was terrible. It was like a foot of slush with a foot of snow on top of the slush. Terrible. I took him out there when we caught a bunch of crappies. I mean, it was a slower night too, but we probably caught 10, 12 crappies each, which is slow for Pineview. And the next day at work, he was like, dude, that was so much fun. I was like, I thought you were going to come back. I'm never going again. But he's like,
Okay.
I'm going to go again. So
Most people will correct that too. Most people.
he's a different breed.
Those slush conditions, so generally those will occur after a snowstorms come in and then you've had kind of a warm day. Or you'll have a snowstorm come in, you already have a little bit of water on the ice, and then it sandwiches in there and doesn't freeze because you've got that insulation in there. You'll step on it, think you're good, put all your weight on, and sink through. It's like mud, but cold.
Yeah.
I kind of noticed with slush, it's typically like a day or two after the storm. So the storm will hit. Typically, you're fine actually during the storm, but then it's the next like 24 hours after that is when it really starts to settle. It'll start to melt and things really get slushy. So I mean, if it storms on a Thursday and you're going on a Saturday, expect slush.
You have a pretty good way to get around the slush. What is it you're using?
Snowshoes, they work great. So I use snowshoes, and then if I know there's going to be slush, I take these pads. So what I do is I'll get out on my snowshoes, keeps you up above on the snow, so you're not stepping through the slush. And then when I get out there and find a spot, I'll pack it down with my snowshoes, and then I'll get one of these squares, and I'll put it down on the slush, and then pack that down. Don't shovel it out, or else you'll be a pool.
Yeah.
So leave it there and just stomp it down. And then
Even throw more ice, or throw some more snow in there, and just pack it down. Yeah.
You're turning it into a nice thick
icy
that you can walk on.
It's gonna take a little bit of time, but it's gonna make your inside your tent so much nicer. Like you're not stepping a foot over and then slipping down again. You're not getting your boots wet. Like
You don't have like your feet over here because it's the only solid part.
yeah, exactly.
And then you're like, oh, I have to grab something and swim to it.
Swim, yeah.
So yeah, definitely get your pack. Get yourself a pack of these. You only need one square out really just to pack it down. And once it's packed down pretty good, you're good. I mean, you put it down, you stomp on top of it, and it works great.
Sweet. Another thing is just snow coming in. There are some of those other places up in the higher mountains that if a snowstorm comes in, you're going to have a heck of a time getting out just because of how much it piles up and just those conditions. I've had a situation just getting out where it started just pouring, dumping snow. There was a breeze walking out, but going back in to the shore, it was miserable just because of those conditions. But just keep an eye out for weather conditions. You don't want to get stuck out there and be stranded, especially if you have a machine and you get into a slushy situation where you don't have service. That's asking for trouble. So.
Even snowstorms. I've been out there before, like you were saying. It was not too bad when going out, but coming back was terrible. Like there was fog one day. I was out on starvation, and walking out wasn't bad. But then midday, this fog storm came across, and I was fishing 20 feet from Jay. I couldn't see him.
Wow.
And so I was like, Jay, you still there? And he's like, yeah, you. And so we're like, don't move. We're fishing this spot for the next however long until the fog moved out. Because I literally, if I stood up and spun in a circle once, I had no idea where I was at. Like,
Jeez.
it was bad. So know your directions, tell people where you're at, and have a map. Because the other thing with it was I was walking at one point and in the dark, and we were walking one way, but I started to curve, and I like then looked at my map for a little bit, and I was like, we gotta go that way. Like, what are we doing over here?
Yeah.
Like, and then we looked at coming back at the end of the day, and you could totally see our footprints. And we're like, whoop.
Veering off.
Yeah, it was bad. So know where you're going. I guess that doesn't necessarily help you of like how to be as useful on the ice, but more just how to be prepared.
Oh,
on the
it
ice.
does. You don't want to go out there and spend your time
That's
wasting
true.
and fighting the weather.
Yeah.
Like, knowing your weather conditions. Or example, if it would have not, that fog storm would have been there for 4, 5, 6 hours.
Yeah.
Luckily it blew through, but if it would have been like that for a long time, you guys weren't catching fish. That would have kind of affected their success for the day.
Very
So,
true.
and just knowing where you're going and limiting yourself. It blows my mind how many people think that a 2-wheel drive car can do the same thing as a 4-wheel drive car.
Yeah.
Know the road conditions. I know you guys don't want to walk that far. Don't go there. Like, it sucks for everybody that's trying to go fish because you're blocking off going fishing, or people that are trying to leave just because you guys didn't take the precautions to get down there. I know it sucks, but it sucks for us too.
Yeah.
I've been in that situation. I've learned from it, but just do your best to try not to get stuck. Know the limits of your vehicles, know where you're going, and don't think that even if you do have 4-wheel drive that you're unstoppable. There are plenty of times that we'll be driving up, especially out of the gorge. You'll be driving out there,
Terrible
and
up there.
people will be stuck with 4-wheel drive. So know the road conditions, or you won't even get out to the lake, and you'll be
Yeah.
spending more time digging yourself out, like we talked about earlier.
Even just travel to the lake. Like, be safe. Like, people say always be safe out on the ice. Like, be safe with your snowmobile. Be safe being on thin ice. Like, be safe driving, people. Like, it is winter. Like, you're getting up in these high mountains where a lot of these Utah lakes are. You're going to be going through some snowy patches. Like, you don't have to get out there fast just to be the first one on the ice. Like,
And
take your
just
time.
to kind of reiterate on that, I got a quick story, and then we'll kind of wrap this up, guys. But 2 years ago, me and my buddy Tommy, shout out to you, Tommy. There,
Good old Tommy boy. Don't know who you are. Shout out to you.
he's a good guy, good guy. We had decided to go to Strawberry. Now, he lived up in Logan. He was gonna meet me down there. I'm like, dropped a pin. That hill at Chicken Creek, just past Chicken Creek, we were just talking about. I'm like, hey, here's where we're at, dude. I'll meet you there. He'd already left. It'd been about an hour. I'm like, where is this guy? So walk back up the hill where I had some service, shoot him a text. He's like, dude, I got stuck. Like, I don't know what road you're taking me down. Like, apparently my pin I had dropped him, since I didn't have that great of service, had then dropped him up the Soldier Creek Road, where you can only take your snowmobiles. He drove his Ford Ranger probably 2.5 miles in, and then got stuck. Okay. Well, at that point, I was like, I'm not driving out there. I'll walk out to you guys, and we'll see what's going on with the truck. I walk out there, and there's no way we were getting it out. I'm like, hey, well, come on. We'll wait until more people start coming down this way. We'll go fish for a couple hours, and we'll come back. We'll go back, fish for a little bit, go back to his truck, and it's even worse. I don't know what I was thinking. I just wanted to fish. I was kind of being selfish.
Yeah.
And now it's soft. Now there's no hope of us getting out of there without anything. We had this guy with his side-by-side come out there, try and pull us off. He had the tracks on, couldn't pull us out.
Dang.
By good luck and good fishing karma, like I talked about earlier, guys, this guy drives on his side-by-side with his tracks on there and says, you guys look stuck. I've been watching you from over there. Points out his house on the hill. Whoever you are, dude, you're awesome. But he's like, I've been watching you guys. Looks like you guys are kind of struggling. He's like, I'll be right back. I'm like, aren't you going to try with that? Next thing I know, 20 minutes later, he comes down the road with a snowcat.
Oh, heck yeah.
Big old snow.
Big old snowcat. We had looked at renting one because that's how stuck he was, and it was like a $450 rental for like 3 hours. And this guy saved us $450, pulled us out. Awesome dude. Gave him a box of 9mm. He didn't even want a trade or anything,
Nice.
but it was just for the help. But if he would have just taken the time and realized, hey, this doesn't look like a road a Subaru could go down. Maybe I should back up and give him a call. We would have avoided a whole situation. And 9 times out of 10, you're not going to have the luck of some guy with a snowcat to come help you out.
Yeah, for sure.
But just those little things, pay attention to details. It's a dangerous sport. I think a lot of us get too comfortable, and that's where it becomes no fun. Is when you forget just your simple rules.
Yeah. But I agree. Be safe everywhere. Travel on ice.
Wherever you go.
Be safe at home.
Be safe. Get outside.
Be safe with you research.
But all right, guys, I think that was a pretty good episode there.
Let's kind of do a recap, I guess, because we covered a lot of bullet points.
We did.
So first one, I guess, was packing.
Pack up. Make sure you got everything you need for where you're going.
Don't overpack. Only pack what you need.
Only pack the essentials, unless you have the luxury of packing everything out with the machine.
Yep. Unless you want those luxuries.
Yep.
If that's your style, go for it. Like, if you're just the type that wants to hunker down, have the nice things in your tent,
rock it out.
Go for it.
I'll be that way in about 5 years, so I'm not judging you guys whatsoever.
Yeah, just be organized. Once you get out on the ice, be organized, set up,
Move if you guys haven't found any fish in
Move
10
the
minutes.
fish.
And even if you don't have a fish finder, that is a very, like we talked about last episode, there are ways that you guys can track those fish down if you don't have a fish finder and move to those. Look for those kind of terrains we were talking about.
Drill lots of holes.
Drill lots of holes. Oh, remember the hand
Make sure your
augers.
battery's charged. Yeah.
The muscles are charged.
The muscle
Yeah,
charge,
for real.
yeah.
If you got a hand auger, go look into getting an electric auger or a drill auger. Or look for something. Gas. If you want to do gas,
that's
go
a
for
great
it.
point. That will save you so much time and efficiency on the ice. Is if
You
you
can get a gas auger for so cheap right now.
I think
Gas or propane.
Jiffy
$250 or something like
Jiffy
that?
for $50.
Jiffy
For $50 brand new
Whoa.
for their Black Friday sale.
Holy crap.
Probably gone up a little bit, but $100 if that's probably 50% off they give. That's a steal. So
Yeah.
Big time. Do your research beforehand. Figure out what lake you want to go to, what structure, what fish. Figure out, kind of go watch YouTube videos even. Yep. You can go search people, how to catch walleye, how to catch trout, what to do on that.
it's even becoming so big that in Utah you can search how to catch what to use to catch fish in Schofield, and YouTube videos will pop up.
Schofield ice fishing.
Like Schofield ice fishing.
Lots of stuff will pop up there.
Yeah, exactly. Pineview ice fishing. So use those local resources to your advantage. And then again, check that weather, see what your conditions are. If you really want to go check the conditions like I did, feel free. It would help us out a lot. And shoot us a message if you do.
Yep. Talk to your local people. I mean, Facebook is a great place. There's a bunch of ice fishing groups out there. There are people posting daily, hourly about recent trips,
All the time.
all these things. So,
And guys, the number one question is, I'm wondering too, how's the ice?
how's the ice?
Oh, show the camera your hat. Put it up.
Made this bad boy. Thanks, China. So, gonna be rocking that for
How's
a little
the
bit.
ice?
How's the ice?
ice?
That's the number one question. We're all thinking it.
Mm-hmm.
Just some people will ask it on the page.
Always. The most recent one, how's Schofield? Anybody got a report of Schofield? What's Schofield?
We're all excited. We are really excited. And next week, or 2 weeks, we should have a report for Schofield for you guys.
Yeah, I hope so.
So by the time if you're watching this podcast, Huntington is frozen over and ready to be fished. So, anyway, there's
Storm destroys it.
yeah, unless the storm destroys it, but it should be good to go, ready to fish. Schofield should be right around the corner. So that's your little tip or whatever for staying till the end. But,
We did get a
of the week.
yeah, tip up of the week.
tip up of the week there. We did get a report for a lake up there by Huntington, Bulger, right, Shannon?
Boulder, yeah.
I didn't get a chance to go up there when
Boulder
I
and
went out there.
Beaver Dam, they're frozen up. So, yeah.
Oh, so it was good. Probably that. I figured it'd be good that next day after I went out there, but it wasn't worth the drive for just some rainbows.
Yeah.
I've heard Tibble Fork is about 70 to 80% frozen.
Which
So-
means it's ready to sled.
It's ready to send it.
28? Yeah.
Yep, and I heard that 2 days ago.
Okay.
So I bet Tibble Fork will probably be ready.
To sled.
So
That's
yep.
all it's good for.
So yeah, those are little local reports.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about?
No, just reminder there, closing that road for Mirror Lakes. Unfortunately, it was fun while it lasted, but
It's closed now.
it's closed now. Maybe if you're gutsy after this storm this weekend, you could ride a snowmobile up there, but whew, you really want to fish if that's the case.
There's better lakes.
There are better lakes.
A lot
that will
better
go.
lakes.
But, all right, guys. Other than that,
That is the Yeet Fishing Podcast.
out.